Good morning. Welcome to the wheel route. Good to see you again. We are going to jump right into, we're going to do one eliminator, one BBM draft today. And actually, I need to click that promo tab because I had forgotten that I had these, sorry, forgot that I had earned some free play here. I'm going to jump in an eliminator first. All right, first time I'm using site credits. Um, but yeah, waiting for three. We jump in that eliminator. Let me check out my slow drafts. I think they're all caught up. Yeah. So early morning drafting for me. I guess 8:30 on the East Coast isn't that early, but little bit. So I'm a teacher. It's summertime. I've been enjoying my summer and sleeping in a little bit, but I got to get started on a little bit of a routine. I am going to go away this weekend, so that's probably going to throw it off. But get back into that 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. grind. And if you don't think that's a grind, I suggest you try teaching. Um, which way am I going here? I want to be looking at this. I have several monitors, and I just want to set them up right. So, okay. Waiting for one more in the eliminator. Eliminator drafts. Let me talk about my schedule. So, my streaming schedule is completely out of whack. I hope to get it tuned back in maybe next week. Going away again this weekend, taking care of some family issues again, but hopefully they'll all be resolved. All right, we got this eliminator full. Hoping that, streamer, the influencer 101. That's not not a normal thing I see. I got to remember eliminator, geared towards week one. Week one is all that matters. Well, then week two will matter after that. But looks like we have some silver and emerald, so a couple bronzes in here along with me. We got a fully badged up draft. Well, not fully. We're missing two guys are missing badges, but I'm willing to bet they know what they're doing. Um, Hopefully, you West Coasters that wake up at 5:30 will tune in. Notice I'm in there, and maybe I'm hitting the European crowd this early. You know, it's midday for them. But woke up this morning thinking, you know what? I missed streaming last night, so it's time to jump on, see if I can get my brain working this early. That's the biggest challenge. Biggest challenge for teachers is getting your brain to work at 7 a.m. Uh, when most of your students' brains are not. I'm a high school teacher. Um, I jump around to different contents, so got to get that brain working early in the morning. I got another month before school starts, but it's real easy to get out of your morning brain uh, during the summer. Actually, I'm finding out that it is because this is first summer I'm not running summer school in about a decade, and then even before that, I used to run summer baseball camps. So it's been a rather well, it's been a rather relaxing summer, except for taking care of parents and those sorts of things. But all right, eliminator drafting. Enough about me and my, yeah, first world problems. Uh, Eliminator drafting. We want to gear everything towards the beginning of the season. So all that matters is who's going to be starting, who's going to be playing, who's going to be putting up numbers right from the jump. Uh, so guys like Zach Charbonnet, meh. Malik Neighbors takes a little bit of a backseat, although we've heard some good news about him. He's not going to be on PUP. Um, Not being on PUP doesn't mean he's going to be full strength week one or at the beginning of the season. So he's still, I wouldn't move him too far up these draft boards. I guess if he comes to me at the 412, I'll consider it, but wouldn't really consider it before that in this format. And you still have to look out in other formats, but that's a guy that's going to probably put up good numbers at the end of the season. So Malik Neighbors is probably going to be climbing up your draft boards within the next few days. If you didn't get him in the 4th round over the past few weeks, you probably missed out. All right, so we start out Gibbs, Bijan, Chase, Puka. Seems to be standard in just about every draft. Sometimes they're a little bit jumbled up, but those are the top 4. Then we see CMC, JSN, ARSB go off the board. Jonathan Taylor at the 1.8. CeeDee Lamb, Ashton Ginty, James Cook, and Justin Jefferson. Oh, and if you're in the chat, or if you're watching live, I have the chat set up so that you need to subscribe, but you should be able to subscribe and immediately join in the chat. Let me know if you're in this draft. Also, remind me if you jump in the chat. I want to show you a charity draft that just started out with some of the absolute top experts. I'm going to feature that in an article on wheelrouteff.com. And I might have, or I'll include it in several different streams I'm doing, but it includes John Paulson, Sean Corner, Pat Fitzmaurice, Justin Boone, who was the most accurate analyst last year, Rob Wazowski, Waz NFL, Josh Larkey, just a bunch of others that, or 11 others that really are at the top notch in this industry. Used to have Jake Seeley. Jake Seeley dropped out this year. Oh, Matthew Hill runs it. He's another analyst that really knows his stuff. All right, so second round, we see Barkley, Chan, AJ Brown, Derrick Henry, Amarian Hampton, Kenneth Walker, Drake London, Chase Brown, Brock Bowers, Kyron Williams in the second. That is a little bit of a reach, I think, there. What do I want to go with? I will go with Pickens, week 14 bye. Should put up good numbers at the beginning of the season. And I am a huge Breece Hall fan, so I'll push him up a bit and start out with Gibbs, Pickens, and Hall. I do like to draft RBs relative. I like in this format, running backs get pushed up a great deal, as you could see with the Kyron Williams and even Javonte. I guess Javonte goes in the early 3rd sometimes. I don't like Javonte I really don't like him until the 4th. But you see him going mid to late 3rd most often. Really haven't seen the push up of the running backs yet, but we are likely to. So I like to try to grab some early so that I don't have to worry about those late running backs. And again, this format, we want points in the first few weeks. So those late round running backs, a lot of them are contingency plays and don't have their own value week to week in the beginning of the season. So you want these, bell cow type running backs early and gobble up your wide receivers late. We also want 3 quarterbacks. So sometimes you see the elite quarterbacks go a little bit early. Some people will only get 2, so you got to push them up. The majority will look for a third, though, because when you're doing head-to-heads, you want that ability to mix and match and you know have a larger variety of pop weeks or big weeks in your lineup. Sorry, my as you can tell, the morning voice isn't ready for streaming quite yet, so please bear with me as I get my voice going. And as I referenced earlier, teaching, this is one of the things too. Oh, the first week of teaching, after that first 2 days, because the first 2 days you do most of your talking. After that, you start grinding into lessons, and really most lessons are about 15-20 minutes of talking, and then you let students work. But the first week, you're going over a lot of contingency things and explaining how you really go about things, and your voice at the end of the first week is like this. And I feel like it's because you're using your voice early in the morning, like I am today, and it just isn't ready for it. All right, so after I took Brees Hall, we see Javonte, Rashee Rice, Josh Allen, Trey McBride, Jeremiah Love, who we might see in Eliminator start to drift towards the back, because the coach speak on him is that, they're probably going to prefer to start Algier in the beginning of the season and let Jeremiah Love learn. We see Travis Etienne at 3-7, Devontae Smith, Josh Jacobs, Egbuka, Flowers, and Olave close out the third. I want to kind of set up my cue here real quick. For my pick before I ramble on and forget what I was thinking. All right, so I'm going to make it look. I'm definitely going to get Judkins, so let me just grab him. And I'm between Mike Evans and Luther Burden. I'm going to go with Burden, not because of his upside, because I actually think I think it's fairly likely that they use Luther Burden in kind of a ARSB type role. I think he's going to be the most heavily targeted, up to 10 targets game. And of course he has immense upside that we haven't seen yet. It remains unproved. Well, we haven't seen it consistently yet because he hasn't really been targeted. He couldn't beat DJ Moore out for those slot targets. But I do think this year you will see Burden super heavily used. That could also have gone Loveland. Like, there's zero chance Loveland makes it back to me. I had been drafting Loveland in that late fourth. We see him drifting to the mid fifth lately, and I think he's a great pick there. Just kind of wanted to grab my receiver, and I do think Burden has a chance to be a top 12 wide receiver, and I think it is actually likely that he is. I think next year we're drafting Burden where we're drafting Pickens this year. Or maybe even a little earlier, depending on the meta of drafts. This year's meta, we see a lot of running backs early. And next I'm going to do an Eliminator draft. And I'm going to see, depending on where I am in the draft order, might buck the trend and try to go zero RB. I've been trying to go zero RB and non-eliminator formats as much as possible when it fits my drafting style, because it seems as though many people are not doing that this year. It seems as though we've gone back to the boomer method of heavy RB. So you want to, I think it's a good philosophy to kind of buck the trend and go in the opposite direction. The zig when they zag kind of philosophy. You don't always want to do that because you can get trapped, but it can be good to use in certain instances and conditions. All right, so fourth round I didn't go through yet. David Montgomery, Garrett Wilson, T. Higgins, Lad McConkey, Cam Scatterbust. I don't think Scatterboo is going to let. In this format, he's better than in non-eliminator formats, but overall, I do think Scatterboo is vastly overrated. Then we see Tatori McMillan, Malik Neighbors, DeAndre Swift, Terry McLaurin, Bucky Irvin, Jalen Waddle, a guy we've seen starting to climb up draft boards for good reason. Then I go with Judkins and Burden. After my Burden pick to start the fifth, we see Travion Henderson, Bashal Tutin, Christian Watson, Devontae Adams, Brian Thomas, Lamar Jackson, Mike Evans, Jamison Williams, Jadarian Price, Colston Loveland at the 5'11". That's the latest I think I've seen him go. And then DJ Moore at the 5'12". Starting the sixth, we see Carnell Tate, Rome Dunze, Drake May, Tyler Warren, Tony Pollard, Jalen Warren. This is an example of running backs starting to climb up these eliminator boards. Then we see DK Metcalf, Parker Washington, Rico Dowdle. Whew. Glad I grabbed my RBs early. Ooh, I could go with I'm gonna Dak. Neither Dak or Caleb Williams are really gonna come back to me. Let me think this through. I am gonna go. Shoot. I'm gonna start with Ramondre, and then stacking isn't that important here, but yeah, I'm gonna go Jaden Daniels. Seventh round, even though it's 7.1. End of sixth, beginning of seventh, Jaden Daniels is a steal. I gotta just go with the higher upside. And yes, I have 4 running backs. 2 of them have a week 11 bye. That shouldn't really matter. I might be able to close out running back unless I get a massive faller, or there's a guy at the next turn I might consider taking if he isn't scooped up earlier. Of course, if Dak or Caleb come back, I will grab them, but the likelihood of that is very slim. Stacking isn't nearly as important, and this is more of a head-to-head thing, more of a I consider it to be very more similar to your home league redraft leagues. Good morning. It's Wheeler, by the way, not Route. But yeah, I appreciate that. My last name's Wheeler. I figured Wheel Route was pretty good way to go for a fantasy football podcast. Pretty fitting, right? But yeah, good morning, Chris. Thanks for subbing. Appreciate that. Are you in here? Are you in this draft? Don't see anything that would resemble your YouTube name, but you never know. But yeah, so I do think eliminator drafts more closely resemble a home league redraft than a normal best ball, where stacking is fun and definitely gives you upside, but it isn't necessary in either one of the formats, because as much as, well, actually stacking in redraft can hurt you as much as it helps you. If Prescott has a bad week, chances are CeeDee Lamb's not going to have a good week. I haven't done DK yet. I'm going to start doing some drafters. I do want to look into jumping into DK. I closed out an old account years ago. If I can start a brand new one with their new kind of promotions, I will do that. Um, it seems like soft rooms, but you really have to build super teams in DK in order to advance. Um, and I've been off it for several years, so I'm not familiar with the format. But the payouts and the promotions seem to be too good to deny, so can't blame you for doing DK. Um, Seventh round, I took Daniels. Then we see Hertz, Godwin, Hubbard, Tyson, Pittman, Pierce, Quentin Johnson, Dak Prescott, RJ Harvey, Sutton, and Reed go in the seventh. The eighth round starts with Downs, Caleb Williams, Makai Lemon, Justin Herbert, Brock Purdy, Blake Corum, Rashad White, Trevor Lawrence, Jonathan Brooks was the running back I was kind of hoping made it back to me, but kind of glad that I'm not going to go with another running back there. Really should be focused on catching up on wide receiver. I'll get to that in a second. So I like Jordan Addison. I'm gonna go grab Addison here. Not really another wide receiver I'm crazy about. I'm gonna go with Laporta over Kraft. Kraft starting out on PUP. It's preseason PUP, so it doesn't mean he's gonna miss any games, but he's coming off an injury, and I don't quite think he's going to be a focal point early. I would rather go with Laporta. There's been some good reports on Laporta lately. The week 6 bye is a little bit early, but I can make up for it with a couple other tight ends later. I was considering going Patrick Mahomes. I was considering a Mahomes-worthy stack on the turn. But again, stack's not super important. And I am going to get 2 more quarterbacks, so I can kind of wait on them and wait until something falls. Possibility, I don't have a wife, but I do have a girlfriend with, oddly enough, the same last name. So she might be a keeper. And no, she's not related. It was a previous marriage. And no, she didn't marry somebody I was related to. But anyway, wild ass story there. So, did I go through after Jonathan Brooks? We see Dobbins and Monangai go. Great example of running backs getting pushed up a little bit in this format. Not crazy pushed up, but yeah, it's kind of at this point, while the running backs are getting pushed up, I feel like a round earlier than they usually go. Although I do think Jonathan Brooks should be going in the Warren Pollard range, no matter what draft you're doing. And I do like scooping up that value when I can. But with 4 solid running backs in the beginning, the only way I'm going to grab another one is something falls directly in my lap. Just again, for those joining us, I have it set up so that you have to subscribe in order to be in the chat. But you don't. You only have to be a subscriber for a minute. So if you want to unsubscribe at the end, I totally get that. Welcome you into the chat though. It's my way of preventing bots or other, riffraff from just jumping in. At least it puts up a slight little hurdle, a little speed bump before I get that nonsense. And while I'm trying to focus on drafting and streaming, dealing with nonsense in the chat is not conducive to effective streaming. Anyway, so I went Laporta, then we see Harold Fannin, Tucker Kraft go right after. Mason, Mahomes, Aaron Jones, Ricky Purcell, Jackson Dart, Michael Wilson, Gainwell, Stafford, Kyler Murray go to end the 9th. Start the 10th, we see Jordan Love, Jacoby Myers, the most eliminator-ass pick there is. Bo Nix, Wandale Robinson, Xavier Worthy. Wow, that's a little late for him. Pitts, uh, JCM, Jared Goff, and then Matthew Golden go. We are getting this being at the turn here and trying to decide your quarterback picks can be a little bit rough. A little bit rough. I definitely am considering a wide receiver here. I do think Romeo Doubs is going to be pretty heavily targeted. And I don't have any receivers with Week 11 bye yet. I need to stay away from Week 11 bye at running back. Oh, I'm not crazy about Shuck. I would have liked Mayfield. I'm gonna grab Malik Willis. It's a little bit of about a half round reach in this format, or maybe even a full round reach in this format. But I do think he presents immense amount of rushing upside early in the season. He has a little bit different, or he's an early bye week, but at least it's different than Jaden Daniels. And again, I probably will get a solid floor quarterback a little bit later. Concepcion and Shaheed, I definitely like, but I don't necessarily think either one of them are going to be consistent early. I think we'll see boom bust performance from Rashid Shaheed throughout the season. I think Kevin Concepcion will establish himself later in the season. Those were picked right after me. I think Romeo Doubs is going to be heavily targeted starting from the jump. A.J. Brown likely to be bracketed or doubled. You don't see pure double coverage anymore, but over the top coverage, A.J. Brown will get most of the time, or bracket coming from the inside. But Romeo Doubs should be, single covered and be able to. They'll be able to get him open by sending him in motion quite often. What else? I made it all the way through the second. Shakir went right before me, happily. I do think Shakir should be going a little bit earlier in most drafts, but not much. I just think his upside is super capped by if Kincaid is healthy and the incoming DJ Moore is going to really slow down Shakir. He won't be consistent. After Concepcion and Shaheed, we see Likely come off the board. I think Likely is probably the most overrated, overdrafted player. He should be going a few rounds later. Kittle should probably be going a few rounds later, especially in this format. He's likely to miss week 1, and they're going to want to use Mike Evans and whether it's Purcell or the rookie Sterling, not Sterling, the rookie they just got. I think Kittle is going to be brought on slow. He is getting older as well. Then we see Darnold and Chuck go in the 11th. Kelsey, Chris Rodriguez, Jake Ferguson, Tyrone Tracy, another running back I like. And then Dalton Kincaid goes, starting the 12th. We see Cam Ward, Stephon Diggs. Stephon Diggs is another one I think is going to climb. And actually, I wasn't going to reach that far for Diggs, but it would have been nice to have him because I do think he's going to be on the Commanders within the next couple of weeks. After that, we see Hunter Henry. It's a little early for him. Mark Andrews, Jalen Coker, Jaden Higgins, and Dallas Goedert. I have 2 quarterbacks that don't need to be stacked, really, so good there for now. Just looking at other options coming up. Really would have liked Stroud. He is kind of my super safe floor quarterback that I really like. I really liked getting him in the 14th a month or two ago, but the 12th he's still a decent pick. I'm going to grab Chigakonkwo because I do think he's going to have kind of a breakout type season. I'm going to get my third quarterback Mm, no. I'm just going to grab another wide receiver here. I'll just get Jalen McMillan. I think Jalen McMillan will be used as their X receiver to start the season, and he does have even contingency upside if Godwin isn't back to form. I think you'll see Jalen McMillan shift to the slot or Z, while the rookie Hurst, I think his name is, um, will play the X. They did draft an X receiver. Jalen McMillan had been playing the X last year when Mike Evans went down, and he was adequate, more than adequate there, I thought. He has a Week 10 bye, which I guess it does match Burden, which I don't like. Definitely want to stay away from Week 10 bye at receiver if I can. Jalen McMillan isn't a stackable piece. I was considering the possibility of going quarterback with Bryce Young, but what just entered my head is that there are guys that I can grab in the 16th or 17th that can fill in that third quarterback spot, at least early in the season. You've got a guy like Kirk Cousins, who barely ever gets touched. Aaron Rodgers, I don't really draft a whole lot in non-eliminator formats. Oh, shoot. You know what? I'm sharing the wrong tab. There goes the draft board. My bad, guys. Yeah, I much prefer to show the draft board than my my cue. Was giving you guys an advantage. Hopefully you were paying attention. No longer, but this is more entertaining to look at for sure. All right. So after my Jalen McMillan pick, we see Omar Cooper, Trey Tucker, Jalen Naylor, Tajay Spears, Aranda Gadsden, Tyler Algier, Bryce Young, Alvin Kamara, Juwan Jennings. Algier is a great pick there too, actually. Juwan Jennings, just because early in the season he's going to see most of his usage. After Juwan Jennings, we see Ryan Flournoy at the 13-11, Dylan Sampson at the 13-12. I think Sampson's a pretty good pick as well. All right, so if I do, trying to think if there's even another running back I would consider. I got 2 tight ends. I can wait there. A couple of quarterbacks popping up here that I might consider. Of course, there's always a receiver you can fall back on. But I might get locked out of the guys I like. We'll see. Would have liked Sadiq or Mitchell as a potential stack with Geno, who's still sitting there. Dalton Schultz is there too. He's a solid floor tight end. And that's I feel like this format you're welcome. This format, we're looking for just that solid floor more than the ceiling. Spike weeks can happen randomly to anybody, but if we have a safe floor, we're always going to have points. You don't want zeros in this format. Okay, so I don't have any Brissett at all. I might have drafted him for the first time in a slow draft yesterday. Gonna grab Brissett, late bye week, should start out the season, early season good. And I do think Jerry Jeudy, no, I'm gonna go Debo, hope he ends up somewhere. Oh no, I could have gone Jeudy, I looked at my running back room, saw 2 week 11 buys. I should look closer at the wide receiver room. I would have preferred Jeudy to Debo there, but 6 of this, half the other. Just gotta hope Debo signs with some team that's gonna use him early on. taking a look over this team overall. So I got 4 running backs. I can close out. I have 3 quarterbacks, can close out quarterback, 4 running back, but I did get them early, so nothing has really fallen to me to the point where I'm like, gotta have it. There is a guy at the next. There's a couple guys that if they fall to the next turn, I will grab though. Need one more tight end and at least one more wide receiver. Just going to queue up a couple of tight ends. Not going to have any stacks at all, it looks like. I don't like doing that. I much prefer stack because it does give you some upside week to week. Oh no, I got Washington. I got Daniel stacked with a Okonkwo, which I think is probably his best stack. If we learned anything from Daniel's passing style, it's that he really loved Zach Ertz. Zach Ertz wasn't anything sensational or overly athletic. And Chigga Okonkwo hasn't really shown us that kind of upside, but he is a pretty athletic tight end that they brought in for a reason. I believe Okonkwo can fill in that Zach Ertz role nearly flawlessly. There's nothing late that I would want to stack Brissett with. There might be something late for Malik Willis, but again, stacking those guys isn't going to be that important. I'm kind of relying on some spike weeks from them and Jaden Daniels. Yeah, of course, spike weeks from him too as well, but I do hope he is more consistent, at least to begin the season. I will say this. I'm probably screwed if I do make it to, let's say, week 8 or 9. Daniels will probably be my only quarter. I don't think Malik Willis is going to make it through the season, and I can almost guarantee Brissett won't. Although that late bye week does give me a little cushion there, so maybe he holds off the rookie until after their bye. I kind of seriously doubt it, though. I figure they'll be like 2 and 9, and they'll be like, all right, enough of you. Let's see what the rookie got. All right, so one more tight end, one more receiver, one more running back is what we're looking at. Okay. So after my Samuel pick, I should have gone over the picks. Jaden Blue is the guy I wanted. Do see a tight end I like. Really no. I'm going to have to reach for anything I like at this point. Pretty much. Sorry for the silence. Need to focus a little bit here. All right, so tight end. I'm going to grab Terrence Ferguson. And kind of glad I grabbed Brissett now because Tua Tagovailoa is exactly the kind of guy I like grabbing late. Gonna take a flyer on Marshawn Lloyd. Probably should have gone receiver there, but I'm gonna hope. Gonna hope the guy I really want comes back. There's a couple of guys that I do think have some floor that we can grab super late. They usually don't last until the last pick of the draft, but we'll take our chances here. I didn't go over the picks after my Deebo Samuel to start out the 15th. They went Hockenson, Trey Harris, Tank Bigsby, Jerry Jeudy, Fernando Mendoza. Fernando Mendoza, I think, is a bad pick in this format. I just don't think Mendoza is going to start the first half of the season. But anyway, so I think it's almost a wasted pick unless you're already in some big money. Uh, then we see Jonah Coleman, AJ Barner, Greg Dulcich, Brian Robinson, Isaac Tesla, and Gunnar Helm. Gunnar Helm is a guy I have tons of late. Really good eliminator pick in the 15th. Then to start out the 16th, we see Ray Davis, Calvin Ridley, Antonio Williams, Malik Washington, Darnell Mooney, Fryermuth, Jaden Blue, Dontavian Wicks, Kate Otten, George Halani, Tua, and then I took Ferguson and Lloyd to start the 17th. Then we see Stribling is the wide receiver I was talking about earlier, the rookie that they're going to probably want to use while Kittle is still recovering. Then we see Zachariah Branch, Sean Tucker, Rashad Bateman, Jordan James. He's gotten some buzz lately, some coach speak that he's definitely the RB2 in San Francisco. And that's what we're going to hear a lot more of in the next coming weeks. Then Braylon Allen, Cooper Kupp, Tyquan Thornton has gotten some buzz lately. Evan Engram, Mike Gesicki, and Mike Washington closes out the 17th. Start the 18th, we see Samaje Perine. We don't see him drafted very often. Kayshon Boutte, Emmett Johnson, Nick Singleton, Chris Brazel, Keenan Allen. Keenan Allen is a guy I like to draft in the last round. But I don't draft Allen when I only really have 7 wide receivers, and one of them would be like, I already have Debo, who isn't on a team. When I draft Diggs, he's certain to be on the team, but he isn't on one yet. So I tend to stay away from Allen when I have one of them. Unless I'm going 8 receivers in a draft, then I will take him no matter what. After that, we see Jake Tollinges. That's a great pick. Did it go to... Well, I'm not going to say great. I'm going to say that's a solid pick in this format. I do think Tonjes gets at least, I don't want to say half, but a substantial portion of the snaps early while Kittle is still coming back. Kamani Vidal goes after him, then Tank Dell. Love Tank Dell in non-eliminator formats. And I still grab him in some eliminators too. Darnell Washington, and then we got 2 picks until it gets to me. And there's a few guys here I really like. I can't do the Week 10 bye, so that eliminates Pat Bryant. I usually would go Jalen Noel here, but you know what? I'm going to stack Malik Willis with Jalen Tolbert. I heard Tolbert's name this morning as I was listening to Leg Up podcast from yesterday, actually, the Coach Speak Leg Up podcast, and they mentioned that Tolbert was going to do that. K-Space, where are you in this one? Space Cowboy, Space something, right? Space Cowboy, not in this one. We're about to jump in let me go over this team. I'm going to jump in what am I going to jump in? A BBM. I got a free BBM coming to me. So, no, not that one. Where's the package? All right. Let me go over this team first, though. Started out with, just got done working, really. Overnighter. I used to be a bartender and get off at like 3 in the morning. So I'm somewhat familiar with you get off at 3 in the morning and then you party until 6 in the morning. Driving home from a friend's house or another bar at 6 in the morning when everybody's driving to work. Whew, that was a lifestyle choice, huh? By the time I hit 30, I bartended until I was 36, but like the last 5 years was, I was 3, sometimes 4 nights a week while I was going back to school to get a master's degree and started teaching. Anyway, started out this, Jahmyr Gibbs, George Pickens, Breece Hall, Quinshon Judkins, Luther Burden, Ramondre Stevenson went super heavy running back early. And you know what? In hindsight, I probably should have stuck there. Not so sure that Marshawn Lloyd pick was a great idea. But we'll come to that a little bit later. After Stevenson, I went Daniels instead of stacking Pickens or Burden with Prescott or Caleb Williams, who I felt as though I was would have been reaching too much there. And Jaden Daniels really feel like he fell quite a bit. Don't really see him at the end of the sixth, beginning of the seventh too often. And in all reality, he should be going probably right next to, I think Drake May should be going next to Lamar, and I think Daniels should be going right next to that in the late fifth, let's say. But anyway, getting Daniels at a value there. I think it's more important in any form of best ball to scoop up the value, the ADP values. Scooping up ADP values give you unique builds. And you want unique builds, but you don't want to reach for unique builds. You want them to kind of fall to you if they can. After Daniels, I went with Jordan Addison. I do think he is undervalued. I think he's going to have a pretty solid year. I think next year we'll be looking at Addison in the fifth round or so. After that, Sam Laporta, some good coach speak on him lately. And his new OC likes to utilize the tight end, so he's good there. Sorry, guys. My voice isn't ready in the morning. Then after that, I go Romeo Dobbs, Malik Willis, Chigakonkwo, Jalen McMillan, Jacoby Brissett. Now that he's signed a contract, I think it's more likely that he does start at least the first half of the season. I've been saying most of the offseason that I thought his chances were shaky and that he might only start 6 games depending on their record and how far along the rookie is coming during camp. But we'll see about that. I think he fits this build pretty well. And I grabbed Deebo Samuel. Hopefully he signs somewhere that we like. Terrence Ferguson, he's been climbing up draft boards a bit. Really, the Ferguson play is more of he's going to be utilized as their wide receiver 3, not their tight end 4. So it's a little bit of a risky play, but I like the upside there. Marshawn Lloyd I talked about, probably an unnecessary play, but depending on the Josh Jacobs legal situation, that might pay off. And then Jalen Tobler as a stack with Malik Willis. Heard some buzz today about Tolbert's considered their a starting wide receiver. Not sure whether he's Z, slot, and he should be starting. But if he's starting in the slot, how often is he on the field? We'll see. All right, time for an eliminator, or that's time for the BBM draft. I'm only doing 2 this morning. As you can tell, my voice isn't ready for it anyway. But here we go. Let me pop out this. Oh, I just jumped in. There's 10 open slots in the BBM. I don't usually see that. I usually queue you guys up as to when I'm jumping in. But BBM looks like it's pretty empty right now, which is unexpected. I expected to fill quickly. Oh, you know what I can do? I'm going to, let me open up this Data Force Charity League that I'm in and just show you the guys that are in it. Where is that? Should have had it queued up. So let me show this first. This league has Matthew Hill. He's been top ranked in the Fantasy Pros accuracy competition during the season. I think he's won a draft one as well, but He's kind of one of these guys that is a lesser known guy, but he's really good analyst. I think his work is with this Data Force website at dataforceff.com. Go ahead and look that up. There's some articles and stuff. You can draft on this site. I haven't. The charity drafts are generally the only ones I do on this site, but it's worth looking into it as well. Then we see Pat Fitzmaurice from Fantasy Pros, Pat Thorman from Establish the Run. That's the name I forgot earlier. Bob Harris from Football Guys, John Paulson from 4for4, Sean Carner from the Action Network. Paulson and Carner have owned the accuracy competition for years. Justin Boone's in it. He won the accuracy competition last year. Chad Parsons, Joe Dykin from Fantasy Nerds. You see me. Waz is independent. He was working for Matthew Berry Fantasy Life. We worked together at Pyromaniac years ago. I might hit up Waz and see if he'll write with me, or maybe jump on a podcast here or a stream. And then Josh Larkey, worked with him at the 33rd team. He's TBD at the moment as well. Wow. Guys, start your own sites or jump on with me. Let's go to the draft, though. My leagues. Charity. Just want to show you how this draft is starting out. So I started out, I'm in 3-hole, started out with Chase. Kenneth Walker fell to me and grabbed Breece Hall in the third. Not sure you guys, you guys can't see that. All right, so there goes the draft board. All right, not sure you guys can see that, and I don't want to jack up everything else, but let's see what I can do here. Can I increase the size of this one and not, there you go. So just so you can see how that draft board's, all right, the BBM is filled, but give you a glance at that draft board. Kenneth Walker and Derrick Henry both fell. This is a full PPR format, so, but the early picks, the surprise picks to me, Brock Bowers in the first and Trey McBride in the second. I don't think it's tight end premium. I might want to look that up. I think the around early on both of them, really. And then Josh Allen going a little early. I didn't benefit from that yet. Just trying to look too. Chase Brown went a little earlier than normal. AJ Brown got pushed up. I guess the wide receivers here got pushed up a little bit, but the advantage I have over most of these guys is I draft a whole lot more than most of these guys. They are doing their analysis and breakdowns, and man, they're accurate, they're good, but the advantage I have over them is they're probably more redraft trained than I am. I am right now, have been completely best ball focused. I will be switching over. My content on wheelrouteff.com will be more redraft focused for August. Try to get some subscribers there. But here we go in a BBM. So I need to get reacclimated to week 17 and high upside. We see, wow, Justin Jefferson go with the 1.6. That leaves McCaffrey open to me. But you know what? I'm going to say F it. I'm going to get my guy. I think Ashton Jinty is actually going to be a top 3 running back this year. And, you got to go for yours in these. The guy in the 8-hole is probably psyched that McCaffrey fell to him. But starting out, we see our normal 4 at the top. JSN is the most likely 5th pick, most common 1.5, but we do see some variance there. Justin Jefferson getting pushed up to the 1.6 is a get your guy pick. Same with my Jinty pick. McCaffrey goes after that. And then we'll probably see this start to, yeah, we'll see CD Lamb and ARSB. Probably a bunch of running backs at the turn. And I'm likely to have a decision between somebody like a Devon Achane, AJ Brown, Drake London. But we'll see. Sometimes they get pushed up, and you get another solid core running back there. I have these set by rank. I'm gonna flip it to. I like in my draft room flipping it to ADP. Like I like having my rank in there, but I don't like reaching. Generally speaking, I kind of stick close to ADP in the first 6 rounds. Although I showed an example of reaching a half round in the first round. That is so in the first round when you reach half a round, it's a pretty big reach. But I mean, I've drafted Ginty at the 1.5 before. I've seen him go at the 1.4. I think he could go anywhere in the first round, and I do think next year he will be among the Gibbs Bijan conversation. All right, we see a string of running backs there. So I'm between Derrick Henry and AJ Brown. I'm gonna go AJ Brown there. Yeah, I do have some AJ Brown in the 3rd round early on. Not as much as I would have liked to have. Should have packed my bags better there. But I also do think that this heavy running back meta getting pushed up isn't really necessary. I think a hero RB or a 0 RB build is probably optimal in this format, although Derrick Henry getting pushed that late. See, and that's what kind of kills my AJ Brown pick there. You know, starting to build the wide receiver room is that this guy with Puka and Derrick Henry is doing the same thing I just did without reaching at all. Derrick Henry falling to the 2.9. I would consider pretty sweet. And maybe reconsidering that pick. But, c'est la vie, keep moving on. After AJ Brown, we see Drake London, Brock Bowers, Derrick Henry, George Pickens, Rashee Rice, and Nico Collins fill out the 2nd round. I bet you the guy in the 11 hole was quite happy with getting Jonathan Taylor there. I just want to look and see if there's any other surprises. Not really. Devon Achane should be a 3rd round pick. I actually, in formats like these, I would rather have Breece Hall. Don't get me wrong, I'm grabbing Achane in when he gets to the late 2nd, because late 2nd, early 3rd, I don't think there's really much difference there when you're drafting. Just so I have some of them. But I think that he starts out the season quite well. I think he's used heavily early in the season, but when Miami is 1-10, they're probably gonna say, you know what, let's throw him on the shelf. And I was really hoping to go wide receiver here, but when Breece Hall falls to me at the mid-3rd, I gotta get him. I in the Eliminator, I drafted him at 3.1 and would probably at this point go Neighbors over him. Neighbors really climbed up there. I don't think we should be putting Neighbors ahead of Nico Collins at this point. I do think Nico Collins should go ahead of Pickens, though. I think you'll see Neighbors in the late 2nd rather soon. I was hoping that he wouldn't climb up that quick. Definitely remember that Neighbors probably for the first 4 weeks will not be at full speed or full usage. But in this format, that doesn't really matter. After Breece Hall, we see a slew of wide receivers go. Olave, Higgins, Ibuka, McConkey, Tatora McMillan, Garrett Wilson, and Jalen Waddle start the 4th, along with Travis Etienne. Shoot, you're not giving me He scooped up all the wide receivers I want. All right, the draft rooms are getting smarter with the coach speak ramping up. I don't really want Josh Allen. This is a good place to pick him. I'm going to go Burden again. I could have gone Josh Jacobs there. I kind of want to see if he falls even further. Josh Allen probably would have been a good pick there. I just don't like getting quarterback that early. Don't get me wrong, 5th round Lamar is hard for me to stay away from too. The other thing with Josh Allen, like if you want to scoop up, if there ends up being value on Herbert or Trevor Lawrence, which there often is, they have the same bye week as Josh Allen. So I'm not going to draft Josh Allen and one of those guys, within the first 9 rounds if they have the same bye week, because if I had those 2 quarterbacks, I would only want 2 quarterbacks. It's hard to pass up, but I talked up Burden in the last draft, so I might as well stick with him and grab him in this one. After Burden, we do see Josh Allen and Josh Jacobs. They were in the next in the queue. I mentioned Colston Loveland in the last draft. He falls a lot further in those eliminator drafts than he does in the non-eliminator formats. Scatterboo, I think, is going to be a scatterbust. Just way too injury prone, reckless. Just doesn't use his head. Not sure he has working brain cells at all. He is fat and slow to begin with and has had a major leg injury, which is just going to make him slower. Then Devontae Adams and Mike Evans close out the 4th. Starting the 5th, we see DeAndre Swift, Roma Dunze, Trey Henderson, Jamison Williams, David Montgomery, DJ Moore, and next in my rank and by ADP is a running back. I would much rather have gone receiver here, but I'm going to grab Quinshon Judkins. Just noticed that Ginty and Breece Hall have the same bye week, so having a 3rd running back isn't a major issue, but I will not draft another running back. I want to say I won't draft another running back until very late, but if there's one guy that can fall to me, sometimes he falls to the nine dots of mid-9th. If he does, I will grab him as well, but for the most part, for right now, I have running back locked out of my queue altogether. Let me hit a little bit. A little water. GM. How you doing, Hartman? Hartman, I feel like I see you in a lot of drafts. Are you in this one? No, it doesn't look like it. All right, so after my Judkins pick, we see Tate, Tootin, Bucky Irvin, Lamar at 5'11", good value there, and Christian Watson go. Perfect. Drake May stack with A.J. Brown pick. We saw some quarterbacks running off there. So starting the 6th, we see Jordan Tyson, Parker Washington, Brian Thomas, Burrow, Daniels, and then I sneak in Drake May for the stack. Super happy with that pick. Definitely have May ranked ahead of Burrow and even Daniels, although they're neck and neck. And to be able to stack A.J. Brown, very nice, very nice. After May, we see Jadarian Price go off the board. I'm starting to like Price's value there in the 6th. Jadarian Price is an excellent 0 RB1. Yeah, when you're going 0 RB, Jadarian Price sitting in the 6th round. It's always tempting to get any of these quarterbacks in the 6th round, although not Caleb. Caleb, I think, belongs with Prescott and Herbert. And actually, I think Caleb Williams belongs after Herbert and after Prescott. I would have Herbert ahead of both of them. But But yeah, Jadarian Price, as you can see, is the only running back that goes in that 6th round, which is probably a reason why people have gravitated away from the zero RB builds. Um, After Price, we see Harrison, Hurts, Warren, Caleb Williams, Mekhi Lemon, starting the 7th, DK Metcalf, Jalen Warren, Alec Pierce, Ramondre Stevenson. Ooh. It's my pick. I'll go over the other. I'll just grab Jaden Reed. I have a ton of them, and maybe I should be letting him fall a little bit. The buzz on Green Bay. It's really the Green Bay negative buzz comes from Thor Nystrom when he was going over the offensive lines this year. Thor Nystrom is the offensive line guru, and as far as fantasy football goes, and football in general. Like I think he's in the college football streets, but he talked about how Green Bay's offensive line might be this year, but that I think would help Jaden Reed being that quick slot target. 7th round, DK Metcalf, Jalen Warren, Alec Pierce, Ramondre Stevenson, Quentin Johnson, Cortland Sutton. I take Reed. Then we see Pollard, Prescott, Hubbard, Herbert, Josh Downs come off the board. Really, all right. So probably focused on wide receiver here, although seeing Trevor Lawrence at the top of 80, toward the top of ADP is very tempting. There's been, Tucker Kraft is on the preseason pup, so maybe he falls to me in the 8th. Although he could fall further. Kraft could fall further. I don't think he falls to the 9th yet, especially if there's anybody in here that auto drafts or misses their pick. So if Kraft comes to me, I will grab him. Otherwise, yeah, I'll just grab Kraft since Laporta went as well. My other thought was possibly grabbing Worthy to see if I could push Mahomes around to the 9th. You see that once in a while. But with new drafters, actually, let me see here. Do we have new drafters? Lovelace and AJ Silo, I think I've seen before. Gino Supremo, I'm not familiar with. Those are the only 3 without badges. The rest of the badges, I would assume, have been drafting all off season, so wouldn't let Mahomes, or they might let Mahomes come around, but Lovelace, I bet you Lovelace does the Mahomes worthy stack of this turn, or at least I would. Like, it'd be stupid not to. He doesn't have a quarterback. He has 3 running backs. There's no tight end. Like, the Mahomes worthy stack is set up for him by ADP. He could go to sleep and pick them, and he might be doing that because his timer just ran out, so he's going to get Mahomes. Is his timer going to run out again? We're going to wait another 20 seconds for him to get that stack? Could you imagine him, preemptively going, no, I want a different player rather than that stack? He just fell asleep. Bastard. Yo! Yeah, I see you in drafts a lot. Definitely glad you're subbed. Turn on those notifications. My schedule is rather erratic, although I might be getting used. Next week, I might kick in Monday, Tuesday mornings like this, and just see if it works for my system. Gotta get. My voice is usually a little bit better than this. Today it is right. I woke up not ready to do this, apparently. Let's see. No real ADP fallers. don't have any stack options really with quarterbacks. I'll just grab Pitts here. I think he's a solid. Ooh, oh, that was stupid. That was stupid. I already have a tight end, and they have the same bye week. That was bad, 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 bad pick. Should have gone Jacoby Myers there. Aggravated with myself. Just figured. Oh, you know what? I figured I could easily push Jordan Love around, but with Matthew Golden going at the 9.8, I bet you this guy, Sanchez, I bet you Sanchez snipes Love for me, and I just screwed the pooch on that. Let me close out tight end there. Oh, Jonathan Brooks was the running back that I said that I would reach for. And not reach for, would hope to come to me in the 9th. Man, that was a mistake. Hate when I do that stupid shit. All right. I need wide receivers badly. I see one coming up that I like, but might have to resort to some reaches here. Let's see what comes. Back to me. I'm going to stack Reed with Jordan Love. Oh, Jesus Christ, I did it again. Early drafting is not for me, kids. Same bye week as Drake May. Dumbass freaking move. I'm screwed at week 11, and that's gonna kill me. I'm screwed at week 11 in almost every position. Oh. God, that was bad. All right. See if I can recover this at all. What I'm going to do is draft a slew of wide receivers here. Definitely with different bye weeks than week 11. I'm not going to... Dubs goes anyway. That was the stack I was looking at. Oh, man. All right. Yeah, I know the reason I didn't take Knicks is because I didn't grab Waddle or Sutton, but I can stack him later. That was just not paying attention to bye weeks. It's so far down on my, this is bad. So both of my quarterbacks have week 11 buys, so I'm going to probably try to draft something and, there's nothing... I might be stuck with a Brissett, but even Brissett, is he going to be around in week 11? I'm going to have to come up with something. Maybe a Bryce Young. Bryce Young might be the look there. In which case, let me grab Jalen Coker. Week 5 bye, much safer. Rashid Shaheed was staring me in the face. I really like him, but week 11 bye. Yeah. Really, I'm going to need a late tight end is possible. There's a couple there that I can do, but it's going to have to be, I'm only going to get one more running back. I think that's the way I build this. Grab a couple receivers, sneak in a running back. I might be able to push running back until the 16th. Hopefully I can push Young. Young's going to have to be my... I'm going to have to hope for Young in the 14th. A Hartman imposter is in this draft? Somebody... Oh, yeah. He has a bronze badge. Maybe it is Hartman. No, that's a Hartman imposter. I don't know. Possibly. Yeah, I don't want another week 11. That's the point. Yes, that is. That would have been so my stopgap pull cord in case of emergency, uh, or Shador Sanders, or either one of the Atlanta quarterbacks, but they also have Week 11 buys. I was worried about the Week 7 bye with Josh Allen and screw myself with the Week 11 bye. All right, Travis Hunter, upside, not stackable, but at least, where am I? I'm at 5 wide receivers. We see Darnold and Ward go. Willis goes. So I'm probably going to have to grab Bryce Young next round. Although, no, there is a quarterback I can grab a little later. I would have loved to grab a Stroud there. But, with my early QBs, I can't even consider quarterback here yet. I don't want running back yet. I'll wait on tight end. 14th, 15th round, I'm going to be sitting on quarterback. Whichever ones kind of fall to me. If I finish, I'm only going to grab one more running back. And I'll probably do that in the 17th. Because I'm considering which running back I would like that will fit nicely on this roster, I believe. I can go wide receiver here again. Hopefully the one I want. Yeah, all right. So I do have a couple possibilities to stack a quarterback with receivers here with Coker and Cooper. Kenyon Sadiq would have been a decent pick, but he goes a little bit too early for my liking nowadays. Just looking at what else. All right. Not feeling too... I mean, don't get me wrong. I would like a 2 quarterback build here, but with them having the same bye week, don't want to screw myself. I already have both of them stacked. I can't double stack them, so that's not a problem. Just got to stay away from Week 11 buys. Pretty much all positions, yeah. I mean, I guess I could get a Week 11 bye running back, but would rather not. That's just 8 players on bye in 1 week is really not conducive to safe floor numbers. Not that this is a safe floor format, but it's surprisingly, you kind of do want a safe. You don't want to take zeros. You want to be able to, at least. Oh, Atticus! Didn't see you there. Welcome. Good to see you. Atticus was one of my first subs. So I'm going to risk it, I think. Is there a running back? Or, I mean, is there a receiver? I'm going to... So I got 2 Jets wide receivers. If Geno doesn't fall to me, if Geno doesn't fall to me, I'm screwed. And I do have Breece Hall. Chinty has the same bye week there. Let's see. Geno in the 15th, I'm fine with. I mean, I would rather him in the 16th for sure, but crossing my fingers. I could have gone Bryce Young there, but why not throw on another receiver? And I have a ton of the Jets stack. I was going to try to start to fade away from that a little bit, but it's a great emergency stack towards the end. You used to be able to grab Geno in the 17th or 16th, but in this kind of build, I have no problem grabbing him in the 15th to save my ass. Bryce Young would have been a safe. Okay, got a stack. Actually Bryce Young or Geno. I think Geno's safer in Week 11 because they do have a Week 13 bye. I think if you end up seeing a rookie as his replacement, you'll see it after their bye week. Cade Klubnik wasn't a, you know, highly, what was a third round pick? It's not like he was a first round pick and they're going to try to get him in. They're going to give Geno enough leash. Come on, just if you want a quarterback, take Rodgers. There you go. All right, it's a little bit of a reach, just a few picks though. All right, feel a little bit better about it. I tell you what, I don't have this build. Not sure many people do. So I got the double stack. I'm done at quarterback. Obviously, might start looking at some tight ends here. And can throw in one more wide receiver. One more running back, I think. Definitely one more tight end. Not week 11 bye, so that somebody else grabbed Ferguson. I grabbed him last draft. Somebody else can grab him this draft. And might have landed the plane like Sully. Definitely not on solid ground, but looks like the passengers could be safe. Not sure if I want to. Yeah. All right. So there's lots of tight ends with week 11 buys this late too. We got AJ Barner, who's another, I think, safe floor type guy. And technically speaking, there is an 18th round tight end. There's actually two 18th round tight ends that I do think have a floor. So I'm a little bit tempted. I'm actually going to go Jaden Blue. He's the other running back that I think is going to give me an actual floor most weeks. I think he's going to do their pass catching. I think he's going to be utilized as their RB2. I think the reports on him from camps, from all summer have been he's really changed his attitude. He stopped being a complete immature knucklehead. He's really focused on football. He's ready to go. Gunnar Helm is the tight end I would have really liked there, but there's two tight ends that are basically being undrafted in most drafts that I think will give me a solid enough floor that I really don't have to concern myself with that week 11 bye. I might only get 5 points from my tight end that week, but at least it's something. It's not taking a zero. It adds to the overall total. So I'm going to wait until the 18th round to grab that other tight end. And I will grab a wide receiver here, hoping I get one of my guys. And I should. Yep. All right, I'm going to grab Pat Bryant here. Bo Nix would have been the perfect 10th round pick instead of Love. Would have really helped this team out. But I threw myself off with the double tight end bye week pick earlier. Starting. You're right, I could be. Mike, from your lips, man. Yeah. I would like that a whole lot. Would like that a whole lot. But I do still think, yeah, I have so many week 11 bye, and I don't really genuinely concern myself with bye weeks. It's just that when your top two at any position have the same bye week, you kind of got to look out for it. I don't really like doing a third. A wide receiver, if you go 8 wide receivers, a third with the same bye week isn't too drastic or important. But like having my first 2 running backs with the same bye week. But anyway, overall, I had 7 players with week 11 bye. So basically in week 11, hopefully I'm up by 200 points. But week 11, I only have 11 guys going, and that's with everybody healthy. Um, so I'm going to take a hit that week, but if I'm up by 200, I feel good. You made me feel good about it. I think I did land this plane. Not, as I said, probably not on a runway, but it's landed and the passengers are relatively safe. And I'm going to get one of my tight ends here. I'm either going Michael Mayer. I have a ton of Mayer. I haven't even worried about bringbacks in this one at all. Hopefully, I have some natural ones. Yeah, I'll just go with Mayer. The other one is Theo Johnson. I think Isaiah Likely is immensely overrated. And not only that, I don't think he is really their inline starting tight end. Their inline starting tight end is Theo Johnson. Jackson Dart showed last year that he loves Theo Johnson in the end zone in the few games they played together. I think it was 3 out of the 4 games they played together where they were both healthy. Theo had 3 touchdowns in those 4 weeks, I think. He had 5 total, so it's probably something similar. And then also with the Giants, I didn't draft them, but I'm talking about them anyway. Brissett as the last overall pick. I like that. But it's 4 quarterback, man. You don't. I mean, I guess the last pick in the draft doesn't mean anything, but I'm not a 4 quarterback guy in 18 round drafts. All right, so my draft: Ginty, AJ Brown, Breece Hall. I love Breece Hall, but this combo of Ginty Hall to start out your draft with them both having the week 13 bye, maybe it's unique. Hopefully by week 13 it doesn't really matter. Came back with Burden, grabbed Judkins because by ADP he was clearly the best pick, and there was no real wide receiver value that I was keen on. Came back with Drake May for the stack in round 6, then Jaden Reed in round 7, Tucker Kraft in round 8. That is why I went with Love. But as I'm doing that, I should have recognized the week 11 bye with those 2 picks, but just glanced over it. The Kyle Pitts pick with the week 11 bye was a massive mistake. Probably should have gone Jacoby Myers there. But it is what it is. This build is probably one of the more unique builds in all of BBM just because of the bye weeks that I have stacked. Came back with Jalen Coker. I do think Jalen Coker is a good pick in the 11th, solid pick. Do think he's going to be used quite a bit, and he's a lot bigger than I originally thought he was. I was going to say bigger than people think, but bigger than I originally thought. Travis Hunter, great upside there. We'll probably see about 50% of the snaps on offense, but should be heavily targeted when he is in games and probably won't be playing a lot of the rushing snaps. Then I went with Omar Cooper and A.D. Mitchell, stacked with Geno Smith. Came back with Jaden Blue, Pat Bryant, and Michael Mayer to finish it out. Usually I try to do 3 drafts in a stream, but waking up early and being a little bit overtired and my voice can't handle a 3rd stream. But I do thank you all for coming out and watching me this morning. I will probably be doing more morning drafts in the future, but my schedule at this point is pretty erratic. Please hit the notifications just to know when I am coming on. Get those alerts. That little bell is your notifications. Give you alerts as to when I'm coming on. Go to wheelrouteff.com. Visit there. Rankings galore, and hopefully I'll have some featured articles coming out later. Other than that, I am actually going to let me check that charity draft again. Let me see if I'm up. I kind of do like bragging about being involved in this as well. whoops, hold on. Where am I? My leagues. I consider a pretty exclusive draft with some pretty big names. Not many picks have gone off the board there. But as you see, Paulson, Thorman, Bob Harris, Joe Dykens, Sean Corner, Rob Wozniak, Matt Hill, Josh Larkey, Justin Boone, Pat Fitzmaurice, Chad Parsons. Some really big names in the industry there. Some really accurate rankers. Like drafting against them, and I'll have an article about that draft on the website coming up. Till then, appreciate you coming out. Talk to you later.